Hello, everybody. This is Richelle. We've got Tonya Howe with us in the house. We are super excited to have her. We're going to be talking about some good stuff today, social media mistakes you may be making and how to fix them. This is the Guiding Light podcast. We are a podcast built specifically for small business owners that are trying to make it, and we just try to handle their day-to-day headaches and try to help them out just a little bit. So, Tonya, the name of your company is Purple Patch
Innovation. Yes.
Got it. And all kinds of things enter into my head because I was a big fan of purple people eaters. So, yes. So tell us a little bit about you and your company.
Sure. Well, my company is Purple Patch Innovations, and what we do is basically to have done for you services in building websites, doing social media marketing, those types of things for companies. But I also have a coaching business where I actually teach people how to do those things for themselves, how to learn the system, how to make, so they understand how it works, how they work together. Sometimes some people want to do things for themselves. And I think to an extent that's good. But I also think that just if they understand how things work, then it makes things a little bit easier for them to, when it comes to planning and, if they have maybe someone on their team that they've brought in to specifically do this, it helps them to create an actual strategy for social media. So a lot of people just are really overwhelmed by the tech aspect of things. And I think just being able to teach them to learn how to do these things, but there's also a lot of other points in that too. It's not just how to build an email campaign, but it's also, figuring out who your best customer is, what is your business goals, for your business and how you're looking at those up to 3 years out. There's a lot of different things that feed into that. And so I think teaching them how those things work and making sure they understand how they fit together and how they affect each other is really important.
Got it. Okay. So how did you get into the business?
Well, I've always been a tech nerd. I love tech. I went to college for computer programming. That was eons ago. But I found out quickly that I don't have the patience to look for missing periods and commas and things like that. So I got into just, on a personal basis, just building computers. And, I've always loved video games and that kind of thing. And so I've always been kind of in that space. And about 3 or 4 years ago, decided that, I really wanted to get into that field. And it was something that I've always enjoyed. And so I decided, because I always knew how to build websites, start doing them for other people. And then I went into the social media marketing aspect of it. And so here we are today. That's pretty much it.
It's amazing how they kind of just stack up on top of each other. Once you're doing one service, it just kind of leads into another. It's very similar to our story as well.
Right.
So today we're talking about social media. Okay.
Right.
And you and I both deal with the general population that jumps on Facebook and makes a mess of it.
Right.
Isn't that right?
Yes. That is so true.
Yes. We see so many mistakes and we just sit here and almost like a face palm. We're, shaking our head. There's all kinds of stuff. In fact, I shared a picture with Tonya and I was doing some research on competitors of a company that I'm starting to work with. So we're not going to mention any names or anything like that. Right. But apparently an employee of the business had gotten into a text altercation with somebody else. And this was definitely personal. Not sure if they were a relative of the company or what was going on. But the girl that he had gotten in the verbal text altercation with, she took a screenshot of their text messages, posted it on the business profile, and said, you wouldn't want to do business with people like this. They employ people like this. You do not want to do business with these people. Will Facebook pull those down?
No.
Okay. Now, as if that wasn't bad enough, okay, somebody that's managing the social media profile for this specific company got on there and what did they say? Turds, both of you.
Yes.
They didn't even reply apply. Now, this was a plumbing business. Okay. Now, we will say that this was a plumbing business, and it just was not a very good way to handle the situation.
Right.
So, Tonya, I have my ideas of how I would handle this. But let's say this plumbing company that's located in the United States contacts you and says, hey, we need some help with our social media. And you're going through their reviews and stuff, and you see this. What would be the first thing you would do?
Well, depending on who was actually the person that reached out to me, if it was the person who said turds both of you, I would.
We may be looking for another client, right?
Yes. I think that really the first question would be, why did you respond in that way? Did you think it was funny because of the business that you're in? Did you think that, that person had no value in their opinion? I think there's a lot of ways to look at that. And I think finding out what that person's mentality and thought process was before they wrote that is a big key to that, because maybe they were having a bad day and they just responded off the cuff in a bad way. And maybe they're really wonderful people to work with. You never know.
And another thing, like what you mentioned, maybe they thought it was funny.
Right. And
when it came off just awful.
Yes, especially in the whole context of the situation. Mm-hmm. So, I would want to find out the background behind that first. And also then the first thing I would tell them to do on their own is that they need to respond in a positive manner. And you need to reach out to that individual that posted that to see if there was a way that they can, kind of diffuse the situation. Customers can make or break your business. And especially with today's climate, with social media, everything is so in your face in the moment, and things can literally go viral in seconds. And businesses have been crushed because of this. And yes. I don't think people realize the impact that those types of responses or non-responses in some ways can hurt you. So, I think it's a teaching moment, and it's also a moment for you to decide if that's really your ideal client.
Yes, most definitely. Definitely. But, let's just say for argument's sake, that guy was like, oh, I just thought it was really funny. And I was trying to kind of, lighten up the situation, but her response to his comment was awesome. I mean, I was just like, yeah, you go, girl. I was kind of rooting for her, once I saw the review. So you can imagine a customer thinking about working with this company. If they saw that, what are their thoughts going to be? So let's just say, for argument's sake, he meant it as funny. Would you say go back and edit that comment, or would you say leave the comment there, go and respond up underneath her last comment? And
you'll have to remind me what her last comment was, because I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay. He said, turds, both of you. And she goes, yes, those are the type of people you employ.
Okay. That's
POS. Yes. POS. And we all know what that stands for.
We always know. Yeah. We all know what that means.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I think I probably would have him respond, but in a very positive way, because he needs to put the expectation out there that he wasn't trying to be, he wasn't trying to be mean. It was meant to lighten the situation. He apologized for the bad humor, because obviously it was bad humor, and that he takes these types of things very seriously. And again, I would reach out to her privately to try to mend the fences a little bit.
Right. Okay. Alrighty. So that also leads to another topic. Okay. So you had this employee and he got into this text altercation with somebody. When we as businesses, we have employees that work for us, we can't control what they do on their own time.
Right.
So how is it that we can kind of help prevent something like this from happening? Of course, and I don't really want to go into too much detail about what she said to begin with and what they were saying back and forth, but it was really bad. But how can employers help protect themselves and set some guidelines? Do you offer any recommendations to your clients for that?
Yeah, I think that, when it comes to social media, like I said, we have seen just in the news and on, how things get so out of hand so quickly. Employees taking it upon themselves to, make political statements, wearing their, you know, um, uniforms, so they're tying themselves to the business, even if they're not posting it on the business page, they're posting it on their own social media. Yes, you have the freedom of speech and you have the right to say what you want to say, but you have to understand that there are consequences involved with that. And I think that if a company is going to be able to police that, they have to have some sort of a policy in place to begin with. There has to be an expectation set with their employees coming on board saying, yes, we believe in your freedom of speech and to use your social media however you see fit. But understand that if you cross the line on any of these points that we have lined out here, that, it is reason for termination or it's reason for disciplinary action. I think that has to be very clear. And I know that you tend to see that more with larger corporations because usually they've come across this at some point, or they've got a team of attorneys who are looking out for them ahead of time. But the smaller businesses are the ones a lot of times that really are affected with that kind of thing because they don't have that type of thing in place. And so people are just allowed to say and do whatever they want. And then you're trying to go back retroactively and, fix an action or behavior that should never have happened.
Exactly. So a good policy in place is good. There's a few online that can kind of give you a starting point.
Right.
But we do highly, highly, highly recommend that you work through your attorney on those. Don't just download something from, and I don't want to mention any names, but any free legal or monthly paid legal websites that are out there. Let's just put it that way.
Right. Exactly.
Definitely get with your attorney to make sure you're within the realms of what can be enforced in your state. That's one
training on top of that too. Training and setting the expectation in your company environment. Talking to your employees when they're hired. If you set the expectation, then you're going to find out quickly who those people are that are going to continue to push the barriers. Push the line, and may not be the right people for you. To have as employees, but setting that expectation, they're going to know, okay, I have to watch what I say in this aspect. And maybe you make a policy that they don't mention anything about your company on their social media. I mean, it's whatever you feel you have to do for your company. But, I think there has to be very clear boundaries set, and that needs to be related to them as well.
Exactly. Well, in the first example that we gave, the verbal text altercation that happened was not about the company. It was never even mentioned about the company. But apparently they had gotten into some kind of a Facebook back and forth a little bit, and she found out where he worked, and she just posted it on their page.
Right. And that's a different type of situation because that's not the employee's fault.
Exactly.
One. But at the same time, he did engage in a conversation with her. And if I don't remember, was the company brought into that conversation at all, or was it just between the two?
No, the company was never mentioned in the original conversation.
Yeah.
She just found out where he worked. And
if you have someone that's monitoring your social media, those comments can be deleted too. There's a fine line between deleting a comment that is related to a service that you've provided and a comment that is a personal situation. Right. And if that's a personal situation, then
it was left as a review on their Facebook page.
True. Okay. Yeah. So
it was a bad situation all around, and she knew exactly where to put it, where it would hurt the business the most.
And she went into that whole thing trying to hurt the company, which is wrong.
Yeah. Yes, I do agree. So do you work a lot with people with personal brands?
I do. A lot of my coaching clients obviously are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. And so it's about them building their own brand, which is typically attached to their name individually, usually. So yes, in that aspect. Now I do have other clients who are brick and mortar businesses. And, so a lot of times their name's never even attached to it at all, except in, the financial aspect of things, legal aspect, but yeah, both sides of it.
Got it. Got it. What are some of the recommendations that you give to people with personal brands, or maybe some mistakes that you've seen that people with personal brands make on social?
I think, one of the things is, there's a very fine line about showing your personality and being too personal when it comes to social media, because when you are the face of the business, that's how you're judged. So, I always tell clients, whether it's social media for the business that's a brick and mortar and their name's not on it, and they're just posting stuff on their personal page, that you get tied to that. If you say on your Facebook page that you work at ABC company, you're tying what you put on your personal social media to your company name. So, I have clients who are extremely opinionated in their viewpoints on political matters and, things. And I always tell them, I'm like, just keep in mind, anything that you put on your personal page, people can find, even if they don't know who you are necessarily in the beginning. So if you don't have a problem with offending certain people, then go ahead. They're not going to be your best client anyway, right? But if you do, and you don't want to take a chance on possibly offending some people, then you might want to tone it down a little bit and watch what you post. I have always been taught as a little girl, you don't hang your dirty laundry out for the whole world to see. And, that's what my mom and dad always said, you be careful what you say and who you tell it to, because obviously the rumor mill back in the days before social media, the word of mouth rumor mill was always something that you had to watch out for. And I just apply that principle to online too. There's only certain things that I put out there on my own personal social media. And when you are especially attaching your name to your business, as a personal brand, that's even more so. You have to really think about how you want people to perceive you. And so I always just try to give them a little bit of a coaching in that, just, say, really think about it before you continue with your social media. Think about that. You just think about all the people that, are celebrities or, people who are in the major spotlight that have just been brought down and have lost their careers because of something that they said that wasn't exactly the best thing to put out there, and
it's been very recent in news. Somebody lost their show.
Roseanne Barr. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And the thing about it is I think what a lot of people don't realize, and I'm a member of a group of women entrepreneurs. Okay. And I'm not sure if that's where we met or if we met through another group.
I think we met
Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs.
I think we met each other in the Gorilla group, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Okay. Yeah. So I'm in this group. So my question was, and people really nailed into me. They got mad, which people that know me know that I'm very blunt. I'm straight to the point. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm just.
That's why we get along so well, because I'm the same way.
Exactly. So, I just basically put out there, I said, okay, so you are joining a group as you personally. Okay. And this kind of goes into our next thing as well. So you are joining a group personally, and you're coming into this group representing your business. So why is it that whenever I click on your name, I don't see anything about you? I don't know what business you're in. I have no idea what you do. Do you groom dogs, or are you a surgeon? I have no clue as to what you do. So people with personal brands, it's really funny because what they try to do is they try to make a little line. And they try to say, okay, this is my personal page. This is where I talk to all my friends and family and go look at kid pictures, and I post funny stuff. And it may offend some of my clients, so I really don't want to confuse the two. Okay, are you following where I'm going?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly where you're going with this. Keep on.
All right, so she's in the group, and she's talking about her awesome widget, right? And I'm like, okay. So her as an individual, the only way I have to connect with her is through her personal profile. Didn't she just murky up that line?
Yes.
She just completely erased it.
Yeah.
So when you as an individual, and I'm talking to the listeners out there, when you as an individual are on social media, you are joining groups to share your message about what you're doing.
Mhm.
You cannot put a line in the sand and say, this is my personal account, this is my business account.
Right.
It does not work.
No.
If
And
you
that
do
takes
want to
you,
do that,
right. Go
right,
ahead.
at least put where the hell you work in your profile. That way, at least
Yeah.
people have the option to say, hey, I'm not really ready to connect with them yet because I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to get a sales pitch. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I do want to follow the company and kind of see what they're about. Let me get to know them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you put the business page in there, you do allow that. But I kid you not, Tonya, there were 2,500 comments on that post within 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
It was heated. I was sitting there at midnight. I'm like, okay, I got to go to bed. And people were
Yeah.
just calling me out on it. I'm like, no, you're in this group talking about business, but yet you don't have any information. And I'm not arguing with you. I'm trying to get an answer as to why
Yeah.
they couldn't answer it. Now, some of them had valid reasons.
Yeah, and I think the whole idea of a profile funnel for a lot of people is still unknown. They don't understand that you can utilize your personal Facebook page to funnel people who could possibly be interested in your business to your business. I think for most people, it's about when they fill out their profile, because a lot of them have done it for so many years. It's been so many years ago since they've done it. They don't think anything about other than just updating where they work.
Right.
But some people think that a way for me to stay anonymous and people not being able to find me is just not putting information out there at all. Which, yeah, if that's really what your goal is, then you really shouldn't be on social media anyway. If you don't want people to know you, who you are, where you are, don't be on social media, because people can find you. They're going to find you. They're going to find out about you. You can anybody can Google themselves and see your name pop up with all of your different profiles. I can put mine out there and Facebook comes up and Twitter comes up and LinkedIn comes up, but I've utilized those for my business because I not only have Purple Patch Innovations as a company, I also have the coaching business, which is me, and I'm now launching that brand as well, because it was just something I did and people contacted me originally through my personal Facebook page, or LinkedIn or whatever. But now it's time to create that brand for that.
Right.
And that's where you have to think about it too. If you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur,
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to market yourself individually as your business, then maybe you don't need to really be using your personal page to interact with people. Maybe you need to create a business page to interact with people. And that's the page, that's the profile, that you use to interact and engage and that kind of thing. So that way, all of that stuff that you're wanting to keep separate is a little bit easier to do so, just like you said.
It will, but pages still cannot join group.
That's true. But I'm talking about, can't they do that though from like if you're a personality, I think you can.
I think you can, but at the same time,
I'd have to check on that. I can't remember. They've changed so much, but I was thinking that if you had like a personality, like if you were a personality when you set it up, I was thinking that you could interact that way. I may be
like
wrong.
a public speaker.
A public speaker, yes, exactly.
Okay, all right, got it.
That's what I was thinking, right. But I may be wrong on that. I'll have to check on that.
Now, one thing that I do want to mention, and I've talked to a couple of different people from different parts of the country, and a lot of them have said people are running from Facebook by the droves. Now, I manage a lot of networks and I manage a lot of pages. And let me tell you something, my analytics have not gone down a bit. If anything, they've gone up. So don't fall into the hype that people are leaving Facebook just due to the privacy issue. And I think that's when a lot of people tried to up their profile privacy so much.
Mm-hmm.
But that had nothing to do with that other stuff.
No, yeah, I think,
it was the quizzes.
The quizzes. And that was the thing. I almost kind of had to laugh at the whole hearing thing that went on in Washington.
Oh, I did laugh.
I mean,
I had more respect for Mark Zuckerberg after that than I ever had beforehand.
yes.
His patience is huge. I would have just been already answered that. Can you rewind the tape?
I know we were watching it, and I thought, I'm a really patient person when it comes to teaching and, helping people, because I love to do that. But that is just, I'm sorry, stupidity I have no patience for. And that was just crazy.
I was so shocked that they didn't have more tech people up there helping those people ask those questions.
Yes.
Or at least field the questions. Because some of those questions were so, oh gosh, what was that one? And I don't want to mention any names, but that guy was just kind of like, now if I go to here and I do a search, does Facebook know that? You remember that part? It was on a completely different website. And it's like, no, but I do kind of understand where the guy was coming from. He was thinking about a cookie.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what he was, but he didn't know he
doesn't know that it's a cookie, right? I know. And I realize, you have to look at the age range too of the people that were on there. Most of them in their generation, this is all new to them for most part. There were, I think, maybe 2 or 3 people that actually asked questions that were legitimately valid. And I thought, bravo, it's nice to hear someone that has some sort of understanding of how social media and the internet works. But I think that the biggest mistake that was made in that whole hearing was that they did not have those questions vetted by somebody who understood social media and the internet before they got up there and embarrassed themselves, because that's really what it was. And the thing is that it was embarrassing for our country too, because everyone across the world watched that. So. And
those memes, the memes that came out afterwards were priceless. I think I shared a couple of them, but yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. But don't fall into that whole thing and listening to people say that they're leaving Facebook. Yeah. They're not. Sorry, Facebook's too addictive. People are still mindlessly scrolling. They're not going to leave. They're addicted. They're here.
It's not going anywhere. Yes, the way their algorithm works may change somewhat. And I've seen changes since they've made those, and but it's not dead by any means. It's still thriving and growing every day. And it's not going to go away unless Zuckerberg decides to shut it down on his own. If that's what happens, that's the only way Facebook's going away. I can see it.
I don't think he even has control to do that anyway, since they went public.
Well, that's true, actually, yeah.
Does he have a majority on the board, or?
I've never even looked into it. I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I don't think it's even in Mark's hands. I think he's still the face of the company.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah, but I would imagine it's not.
Yeah. So, I just, I think everyone got caught up in the hype of it, and I think that that's what social media and the news and organizations have created this entire environment in our world now, that you put something out on social media and that's the law, obviously,
right.
Not, and it causes this panic, and it's really unfortunate. But that was interesting to watch it all unfold.
Got it. I had to go ahead and hit play on the live. Sorry if you heard a little bit of an echo. And then I muted the tabs so that way, because comments will not show up unless you hit the play button.
Yes.
Who knew? Anyway, who knew? So, as far as social media goes, the other mistakes that I see people making is boosting a post.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that just a little bit. Facebook sends you all these messages that says, admins have boosted posts similar to yours, and you can reach all these thousands of people for $5. Are you ready to laugh? You can laugh at that.
Yeah, they just took your $5.
Right.
I think that is. I remember I walked into my eye doctor one day, and he has. I know that he doesn't have as much traffic in his practice as he would like. And I had talked to him. I said, if you decide that you would like to, have someone work with you on a social media, program for your business, I would really enjoy sitting down to talk with you and figuring out a strategy for you. And his immediate comment was, "Oh, I figured it all out. I just boost these posts and it's been great." I'm like, okay, well, if you change your mind, you just let me know. And I let it go because there was no changing he'd already made up his mind at that point.
Got it.
Nothing was going to change his mind because he knew what he was doing. And so, I don't think people understand how post boosting works and who it actually puts things in front of, and, how it's different from ads that are paid, and how all of that is different from organic marketing. There's a lot of different parts to marketing your business, and they all can work together if you know how to use them properly. But a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to pay $5 or $20 or whatever and boost this post, and that's just going to bring all these people. And it's not. It's not.
No.
So.
No, it never works. It's always better to just go ahead and go through Ad Manager.
Right.
And if you are trying to DIY it, please go to a trusted resource on YouTube, or, contact somebody that does not mind sharing a tip or two that you trust. Because if you look at anything that, would you say over 6 months old, it's no longer valid?
Yeah.
Well, no, I even have to go tighter in than that, 3 months.
3 months, I would say. And, actually, if you have the patience to go through Facebook actually teaches you how to do all of these things, but it's very convoluted to find it. So, if you have the patience to research and find it, you can get Facebook to teach you how to do those things, but it's not easy to find. And really, like I said, when I work with people that are in the coaching program, and I'm teaching them how to do these things, I want to empower people to learn, because, the more knowledge you have, obviously, you can make that much better informed decisions and you understand how things work. But that does not replace someone who is a professional in that field as well. So,
right. That's what they study. Like, you're good at your thing, you study it and all that kind of stuff. Well, you've got people out there that also study it, like me and you. So we study all these things. We kind of know what's going on. Right. And the reason why we do say 3 months is because that's when all those privacy things happened. And before all of that hit, you could actually go in and you could target people on Facebook that had recently got engaged. You could look at their buying behavior. You could look at all of this, and now you cannot.
Yeah, it's changed.
A lot of that's been removed. Yeah. So if you look at anything that's over 3 months old, it's not going to be current, and it's not going to be as effective for you.
Right.
So, yes.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is, if you really want to DIY this, you have to watch where you get your information from too, because depending on what part of the country or even part of the world that you're in, what you see and what's available to you can be very different than what's available to another part of the country or part of the world. So, that's always changing. As they roll out new things and they're testing, they put them in test markets. So, the person that wrote this article says, oh, this is a great thing. Hey, you can do this. But then you go in there, you may not be able to find that capability. That happens all the time. So keep that.
I've got over 150 Facebook pages in Business Manager. Okay. And 2 of them have the dislike comment feature.
Oh, really? None of mine have.
All of those other ones. So there's no rhyme or reason as to how Facebook is implementing these things, but I'm just using that as an example. It's that with everything. So they will test things. So they'll pick a couple random accounts, they'll test it, see how it goes before they launch it out to the whole thing. So you video about one of these test things that they may decide to get rid of. Right. It's not even there anymore. Exactly. Yes. So, definitely look at trusted, current information.
Yes.
For sure. For sure.
Exactly.
Okay. So one other thing I wanted to talk to you about was chatbots.
Oh.
What mistakes have you seen people make with automated chat on social media?
Oh, let's see.
I'm putting her on the spot because I didn't give her this question before we got together.
No, you didn't tell me about this. But actually, I think that you have to know who your client is that you want to reach out to. I think any type of marketing that you do, there's things that you can do that can really push people away. Number one, you can not stay engaged with them enough, or you can bombard them too much with stuff. And and that's the two things that I see in chatbots. Either I have to wait too long to get the next information that I really am interested in, or you have sent so much to me that I'm like, turn it off, because I can't even handle how much you're bombarding me with stuff. And I've seen that in both ways. So, you know, and the other thing is, you know, don't try to make the chatbot seem like a real person, because we know it's not. And there are people who write things that try to make it sound like I'm talking to a real person. And I know that I'm not, you know, that this is not a real person. So, yeah, so I think those are the main things that I see. I think that whenever you create a chatbot, you have to really plan out the whole map of it. It's not, you know, it's a marketing funnel is what it is. So you have to think about it in that aspect. And I think some people just throw stuff up there and think, okay, I hope it sticks and it's enough. And it, you know, it's, you have to utilize it as you would any kind of a marketing tool, because that's what it is. Okay.
And it's best to either get a whiteboard or a piece of paper or something like that, and start with the beginning. Start with, okay, if they say yes, what do you want them to do? If they say no, what do you want? And actually draw it out before you get started.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a flow chart. It's just like whenever, like back in my school days when I was learning how to, you know, write programs, you had to create a flow chart first, because you had to figure out, okay, I'm starting at point A. I want to get to point B. Make sure you do have a point B, and because some people don't even have that. And how am I going to get there? And then how are you going to accommodate for whatever they choose along the way? And there has to be all these other little trails that they can go to. So making sure that you have your plan in place is so important.
Right. Now, another thing, and this is kind of a fun idea that a lot of people that do, and you and I both know somebody that here did this recently. If you are using a chatbot, make it fun, make it kind of part of your brand. And give the chatbot maybe even a name.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it the virtual assistant for your company and give them a name. Just kind of say, hey, you know, my name is blah, 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 blah. I'm not a real person, but I'm here to help you if I can. Yeah. You know, and of course, keep it professional. But that's kind of what you want to, you know, portray across to your audience. To try not to fake it. You know, hey, I'm up at 2:00 in the morning texting you on Messenger. Exactly. When our office hours are from 9 to 5. Yeah, I'm up at 2. Yeah. No, that's not happening.
No.
So, but chatbots are very effective if they're used well.
Yeah, the open rate on those is massive.
Not to mention that if you use a service like MiniChat or one of these others, you can actually collect subscribers through Messenger. But again, just like what Tonya said, don't bombard people so much.
Right.
And, you know, you need to realize, and this is one mistake that I think we're going to close out on, because this is one that we could talk about for about the next 10 minutes. Okay. When a company is on social media, your whole entire goal is to build a relationship with your community. Whether you're selling a $1 widget or a $10,000 toy, it doesn't matter. You're there to build a relationship with your customer. They have to get to where they know you, they like you, and they eventually trust you. So social media is a longer sales funnel depending on the price of whatever you are offering.
Right.
And you have to be able to nourish those relationships. And so often I see people just, and you're in marketing, Tonya, and people know me, I'm very blunt. They love me for that. But in marketing, we talk about a guy at a bar, sees a pretty girl sitting at the bar, and, you know, he walks up to her. What does he say?
Don't be slimy.
Don't be slimy. Don't jump to the home run. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
Before you even get a bat in your hand. Don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, you know, you go out on your first date and ask someone to marry you. That does not work.
Right.
You have, there's a progression. There's a natural progression to things. And when it comes to marketing and, and sales, it's, it needs to not feel icky to the person that you're trying to build the relationship with. And if you build that relationship with them, they're going to get to know and like and trust you. And if they do, then what you talk to them about is going to be something of value to them. And they're going to take more interest in it because they do know, like, and trust you. If you walk up to someone, at a bar, like you said, and you said, "Hey, let's get married," I'd be like, "Get out of here. What are you talking about?"
Or, "Hey, did it hurt?" What hurt? When you fell from heaven.
Exactly.
Don't be that person. Be that person. Genuine. Right. Be genuine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Be genuine. Be who you are, and the right people will come to you. And Tonya and I are both part of the same group. And I have felt this way. Yeah, we're both gorillas. I've always felt this way. And it's so funny because the guy that manages this group has really just kind of hit it home for me to where it really just kind of said, "Oh, yeah, that's what you call it. Right. Social acuity."
Social acuity, yep.
Have a little bit of it. Don't be hyper chihuahua. Don't be the slimy guy that walks around the room and hands everybody their business card. Mm-hmm. You don't even know their name.
Right.
At least get to know them a little bit and then let them ask you for your card.
Right.
And that's how really, a lot of times with social, I see a lot of people just.
Yeah. And there's another side to that too. It's not just about getting a sale. You're also building your reputation at the same time, because, just like, back in the day when the girl who was with everybody had a bad reputation, because there wasn't a guy that she wouldn't go with, people talk. The guys talked amongst themselves, and before you knew it, the girl had the bad reputation, and that was, how she was known as. It's the same thing in business. If you are putting out there that you are just going to go and find anybody you can and just say, "Here's my card, and, I want to sell this to you," and you don't even take the time to get to know me, then you're going to have that reputation. And before you know it, no one's going to want to talk to you because you have built that for yourself. And that's not what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be the hyper chihuahua being a jerk by any means. And, I was a member of BNI for a long time. And BNI really teaches about that relationship and the giver's gain mentality. And it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
You don't expect. You always try to give a little bit first. You get to know each other. You do all that. Is the process slower? Yes. But the relationships are stronger. You're not so much of a commodity anymore. So people will work with you. And it's not about, "Oh, well, I can get it $2 cheaper over here."
Right.
You know what I mean? They'll work with you even if they pay a little bit more because the relationship's there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, okay. All right. Any other mistakes that you've seen? People make that you can think of?
Yeah, I actually had a couple of them over here. And these are just technical things, but, when you're posting an ad or, some sort of a post that you're projecting your business, make sure you use good quality pictures. Don't use crappy pictures that are blurry, stretched
pictures. Yes.
Yes.
Canva or something if you don't have Photoshop, right? Do something to where it looks good.
Yeah. Make it look good because that is the front of your business. That is what people are going to be judging you on. So, use that. It's always fun to do, any post you should have a picture or a video on it because people just don't read just text anymore. But, if you are going to post something that's more candid, which people love to see behind the scenes stuff, make sure it's tasteful, number one, that it portrays what you're trying to get across in your post. So things like that. Don't be negative on your posts for your business because that's a negative connotation that you don't want your prospective customers or clients to pick up from you. Everything should
Sentiment is everything, even doing negative marketing. Wouldn't you agree?
One of the things I hate the most is when it's election time because nothing turns me off quicker than to see a candidate bash another candidate I can't stand that. You're not going
Yes.
to get my vote. You're not.
Nope.
It's the same thing with
Nope.
business.
Yes, exactly. And also positive sentiment. And I was working with somebody on their political campaign, and I'm not going to mention any names,
Mhm.
but on election day, they posted a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Controversial music video on their
Mm.
business page
I think I know which one
on
you're talking
election day.
about. Yeah.
And I was like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was all about bad this and bad that and change, and that's not going to get you, that's not going to get you elected. People are on Facebook to have fun.
They are.
Okay.
It's like coming into
And-
someone's living room.
Yeah.
When you're on Facebook or Twitter, those are more personal. Instagram is another one that's more personal in nature. LinkedIn, yeah, that's more business nature. But, most of these are personal accounts, and it's like you're walking into their living room and, coming into their life, to their environment, and you're putting something out there that you want people to be attracted to your company because you want to build your company. Everything that you post should be not salesy, but it should be with the thought that this is how I'm portraying my business. And whether that's your business page or your personal page that is attached to your business page because you have it listed as where you work,
Right.
keep that in mind.
But I think a good reference is what you just said. If you're sitting there and you're about to post something, if you were sitting in somebody's living room, would you grab a megaphone and say the same thing?
Exactly.
If you even hesitate, don't post it.
Right.
If you have to go ask a friend, don't post it.
Don't post it. Right. I always think about, I grew up in a pretty strict household, and I always think, is this something I would want my mother or my grandmother to read? If it's not, I'm not posting it. It's one
Right.
thing if you're hanging out with your friends, on the weekend and you all have inside jokes between you all, and some things can be, a little bit more risque or off color or whatever,
Right.
because that's between friends. But think about what you're putting out there that can be attached to your business, because it can come back to haunt you. And like you said, I think that's the perfect thing. I'm not going to be standing in someone's living room and shouting through a megaphone all this stuff, and then not expect them to say, will you please get out? So, think about that.
Was it a commercial that was out, or was it a meme, or was it a video? And they showed this guy walking around, and he was representative of social media. And he would walk up to like a group of 3 people, and he would just spout off some random comment, interrupt the conversation and everything. Was that a meme, or was that a video or a commercial? I cannot remember. I'm going to have to go look for it now.
I don't know, but I seem to remember seeing that. And I'm thinking, because I really don't watch a lot of network TV, that it may have been a video or a meme that I saw on social media.
Got it. Okay. That was hilarious. And it was so to the point.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, anytime us as business owners, we're posting something out there, we are interrupting a conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
Anytime that we put anything out there, we are.
Yeah.
And we just really have to think about, is this relevant enough to be able to interrupt that conversation?
Yeah. That's a
Are
perfect.
they going to say, oh, cool? Or are they going to be like, whatever, unfollow,
Right.
go away? Even if it's a sponsored post, they can say, I don't want to see stuff like this.
Right.
And it looks bad on your ads, and Facebook says, oh, this isn't relevant to the audience, so let's not show it as often. So you're not going to get the reach you want.
And that's another point too, is making sure that you're marketing to the right audience. Because if you are spending money on ads and you're not marketing to the right audience, that will hurt your viewership of those and your conversions. And you're wasting a lot of money if you don't know who your ideal best client is. If you do not know who your best customer is and who you should be specifically marketing to, and all of their ins and outs and nuances, and who they are as people, where they go to hang out, do they have kids? I mean, it is that detailed. If you don't know that, you are wasting your money on your ads if you're spending all.
Definitely.
Just
Okay. Well,
something.
did you have any others in your little list over there
Let me
that
see
you wanted to
here.
cover?
Let me see here. Um, 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 um. Uh, oh yeah. Don't think that, as a business that you have to be on every single social media platform. That's a huge mistake that a lot of people make. Again, knowing who your audience is going to tell you where to go and be involved, because every platform has its own demographic, and depending on who your demographic is for your particular business, product, service, whatever it is, will determine which one you're on. And don't
Right.
post the same thing to every single one all the time.
Thank you, because the language is different on each one
Yeah.
and how everything works. Like, in other words, and I know Facebook is kind of, they're belittling links a little bit. They're trying to keep people on Facebook more.
Right.
Okay. But let's just say, for instance, now I'm of the belief that that is only the case if you are trying to get in the news feed. Okay. But if you're just wanting to populate your page, so when people come to your page, they see relevant content, you can generate clicks that way.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying not to post links. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are posting links and you want somebody to click the link to go to your website or whatever, don't put a hashtag in there.
Right. Yep.
Now you've put two links on there.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's a 50-50 shot. They're going to click on your link, or they're going to click on the hashtag and see all of your competitors posting about the same thing you just just posted about. Yes. So don't use hashtags whenever you use links.
Yeah, and the other thing is too is we had mentioned, we had talked about this, I think, briefly before we went live, is whenever you do put something on as a link, whether it be your business, make sure that you've got the correct business, number one, because there's multiple ones. If you're going to tag somebody, make sure you're tagging the right business or person, because there are multiple people with the same first name and sometimes first and middle name. And if you're using hashtags, make sure you know what that hashtag is all about before you use it. Because I have actually seen people who did not know what a hashtag was really about. They had just thought, oh, this is great. They didn't check it out and research it. And it had nothing to do with what they were talking about. So,
or it meant a negative thing.
Right.
Because we're not born knowing everything.
Right. Right.
And there's stuff going on with like 14 to 18-year-olds, and they're using hashtags. And for us, it would be just harmless.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to them, it could be a hookup,
The whole Netflix and chill thing, right? For me,
right, exactly.
48 years old, yes, that means I'm going to sit on the couch and watch Netflix and chill out because I'm tired. But for kids,
with popcorn,
right? It's not that.
Right, exactly. It's
think
not
about those things.
Yes, exactly. Now I deal with a lot of older clients, so I have a lot of my clients tend to run about 30 on up to 60. That's pretty much where I'm at. But a lot of them have no clue, clue at all. So I'm always having to kind of watch and babysit and, edit things and all that kind of stuff just to kind of keep them protected. Yes. Exactly. That's part of what they pay me for. And that's a good thing. But the one thing that I mentioned to Tonya that she brought this up, I was looking at working with a client and I was checking them out on Facebook. And when I clicked over to look at their business name, they were located in California, okay? But the business name that they were linking to in their personal profile under the employment part, it was linked to a company with the same name that was located in Vermont.
Right.
So this guy's friends were clicking to get to his business and actually going to a company in Vermont. They're like, oh, well, that's not who I was looking for.
Right.
More than likely, they're not going to go back and try to look for you. So a lot of times on your phone, you just start to enter it in and you find it and that's it. Double check it. After you save it, go back, click it, make sure it works. Now, another thing that this happened to, and you were talking about tagging things, okay? One person was complaining because a girl said she worked for the company when she never did. And a lot of times that's an accident. It was not intentional. It's just something that's very similar in nature, and they just select the wrong thing.
Right.
So yeah, just that's another social media mistake. Just make sure you check things before you move on.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And one last thing I'll say is if you're going to post video, make sure the video is a good quality. There's nothing worse. I mean, there's nothing worse though than having a video that is supposed to be professional in nature and it's not.
Okay. All right. I was thinking about Facebook Lives.
No.
I'm like, whoa, Tonya, stop. You're going to scare all my clients that I'm telling to get on Facebook Live. Stop.
No, I'm talking about a video that is edited and posted, like in an ad or something like that. If you're going to do it, make sure you put the time and effort into making it look good. I have seen some really terrible stuff out there. And you know what? That, again, is a reflection on your company. So if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to editing video for, ads and things like that, get somebody that does to do it for you. Because I tell you what, again, your image is everything that you put out there. So think about what you're putting out there.
I saw one and they had their cell phone. And they didn't have a very steady hand. They sat there and did this during the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you were getting seasick while you were watching the video. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I actually get
very paid for the ad.
I get very easily. And just you moving your hand like that makes me dizzy. So I can't even watch videos like that. As much as I would love to hear what they have to say, it literally makes me sick. And I'm that sensitive to that kind of movement.
Right.
I never could write
Another thing is adding subtitles to those videos, because a lot of people, they don't have the sound on.
Right.
Whenever they're scrolling through Facebook. So make sure you got subtitles on and that the first thing that you say is punch, relevant. That way you stop that mindless scrolling.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. We could talk a whole hour on
they keep popping up in my head. But yeah, that's we covered a lot today, actually, though. So those things right there are really the key things, that if you can follow through with those things that we talked about, I think that you are so much further ahead than a lot of people are when it comes to marketing your business.
Exactly. Now, I've got some real exciting news. Tonya and I have a mutual friend.
Yes.
Her name is Carrie.
Yes.
And she is going to be coming on, is it the beginning of July? I don't have my calendar up.
I don't have my calendar in front of me. It is.
I'm trying to cut out distractions, so it's not on.
Yeah, I have to turn everything off too. I'm thinking, I want to say July 12th, maybe somewhere around there.
7th or 12th.
Maybe it is.
I could be confusing it with today.
Yeah. It's right around that time though. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll be posting a link to it and everything. Yeah. But the cool thing is we're going to be talking about some new tech that's out there that small businesses can use to really pack a punch and be very competitive in their market.
Yeah, it is amazing technology. And it blew my mind when I first heard about it. And and Carrie and I have been working together on this, and I'm so excited about it. And so, yeah, I cannot wait till we come back on and talk about it. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. So we're going to have Tonya and Carrie on the show together. So there'll be the three of us.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be really cool. So be watching for that. One thing I do want to say, just a little housekeeping stuff. You can find us on Stitcher, YouTube. Of course, we go on Facebook Live if you like the video stuff. YouTube, but there's all the audio stuff. So if you'd rather do that, that's cool with us. Just make sure you subscribe. And Tonya, you're awesome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you came on the show.
Thank you so much for
Can you share how people can get in touch with you?
Sure. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's under Tonya Howe. It's Howe. If you, because a lot of people like to put the L's on the end. And first name is Tonya. You can find me on Facebook. And I have a website for my Purple Patch business. It's purplepatchinnovations.com. My coaching website is actually going to be, it's going to be just a landing page to start, but it has all the information you need. That's going to be launched in the next week, and that's coachingwithtonya.com. And I have a business page on Facebook under Purple Patch, so you can find it that way. I have a Facebook group that you can join if you want to learn how to, about marketing and be able to ask questions. We do a Tuesday Talk Live every week with different professionals that bring in a lot of value to the group on how to market your business or just different services that, your business can utilize. So if you want to find me, you can reach out to Richelle even, and she'll tell you how to find me. So
I will hook you up.
I'm out there.
Sure. But yeah, now I'm also going to post some links to Tonya's social profiles and ways to find her down in the comments. So if you're on Facebook Live, if you're on your YouTube, then you can definitely find those links. If you're on Stitcher or whatever, you're going to have to go find me on YouTube, or you're going to have to go find me on Facebook. So make sure and like the page while you're there. Ha, ha, ha. Yes. So you're going to have to do that in order to get in touch with her if you were driving and you just didn't have a chance to write it down or whatever. So no big deal. But next week, I think we have a wellness coach that's going to be on with us, and we're going to be talking about kind of mind over matter and how you need to get the mental part of yourself good for the rest of yourself to be good. So we're going to be talking about that next week. So it's going to be awesome. I hope you can join us maybe.
I'll tune in.
Okay. Awesome. Well, everybody, it's Thursday. So everybody have a great weekend. I'm already in weekend mode.
Me too.
So yes, have a great weekend, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks very much. All right. Bye, Tonya.
Bye.